Today I want to talk to you about the hydraulic press. The hydraulic press is a hydraulic power tool. Hydraulic tools use oil, so there's oil in here and there's a pump here. And when you pump the lever, the oil gets pumped up through this hydraulic line into the cylinder and it pushes the cylinder down with a huge force. Now this press has a 30-ton capacity. It'll be able to push 30 tons. So what do we use a hydraulic press for? Well, we've been using the hydraulic press for bending metal. We can use it for bending. We can use it for pressing things in and out. So for example, we could press this gudgeon pin out of this piston or into this piston. We could use the hydraulic press to press this gear onto the shaft or off the shaft, or press this pulley onto the shaft or off the shaft. A major use of hydraulic presses is to press bearings onto shafts. And to do that, you've got to be really careful. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. So next thing, let's talk about what damage we can get to our press. We can have leaks in the hydraulic line. We could have the ram here, the seals here could leak as well. The gauge could be reading the incorrect pressure reading as well. And what we've got here is the table could be bent. If we left this thing outside, of course, we could get surface rust on all these metal parts. Where do we store it? We store it in the workshop, at the side of the shop, so it can't fall over and fall onto anyone's feet or onto anyone and hurt them. Hazards. So there's a couple of hazards and safety requirements we need to look out for. The first one is your PPE, your eyewear. Make sure you've got eyewear. Make sure you keep your hands out of the way of things. When you've got these sort of forces happening, you just really want to keep your hands out so you don't get pinch injuries and serious crush injuries. There's, the next thing is safeguards. Make sure that when you're using the press, you've got the pins in. Make sure they're in properly. Make sure you've got your PPE, very important thing to do. Also, another safeguard is support. Serious injuries have resulted from people taking bearings on and off shafts. So for example, somebody might want to take this shaft and take this bearing off it. Now this would be a correct way to do it. Put it in there and then press it down there. And what you're doing is this tube here will push up against this inner part here. It'll push up against there. You do not want to be pushing against here. So you could get it off like that by pushing it there, and you could actually push it onto the shaft like that as well. Once again, you're pushing the shaft here, but it's being supported around this area here. Never ever try to do this. When you push down on here, the force is being taken by this outer ring, and as you push, the little steel balls inside push out, and this outer ring will explode. And people have had serious facial injuries and eye injuries from that. They'll cut into your face. And I shouldn't really tell you this, but I've had a bearing do that and it's cut my cheek. So they're really dangerous. Be really careful when you're pushing bearings on and off. Okay, just the last thing about servicing this thing. Clean it, yes, with a dry rag. So you clean your press with a dry rag. Also, top up the oil reservoir, but make sure the vent's undone, otherwise the thing won't work. And of course, just check for any leaks in the hoses, make sure things don't need tightening up. So, be safe around hydraulic presses. Have a look at the other videos, especially of the guy who got a crushed hand, and there's also a video about a guy who had a bearing hit him as well. Thanks.